So this whole situation with DC Warner Brothers is like a toxic relationship that you can't get out of. Like, they show you something promising with Man of Steel, then you see the red flags or the red cape, then you jump into BVS thinking that something about to change and be promising, and then they want to go ahead and have the feces hit the fan and spread all over the relationship. After that, you like, nah, I'm done. Marvel is looking like how it's supposed to. You like, look, you looking real good. Let me holler at you for a minute. Then after all of that, they like, look, I went to anger management and I'm looking promising. And then they got their new slew of movies. And you like, okay, I see you doing some things. And then they want to come around and mess everything good up once again. And that's what Warner Brothers and DC keep doing. And you know what? I'm going to have enough dignity to get myself out of this relationship. I'm telling you, I'm gone. Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of The Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now if you like one of those things, or all of those things, why don't you consider like, subscribing, and hit that notification bell, and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, we are reviewing Wonder Woman 1984, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, directed by Patty Jenkins. So the movie takes place in 1984. Wonder Woman has lived on for decades after the first events of the movie, and she is a mysterious but open hero to the people. And the movie also stars Kristen Wiig and Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig plays Barbara Minerva, who is this unbecoming woman who has a lot of degrees, and she feels like she is looked over. She meets Diana, Wonder Woman, and she's enthralled by her and intrigued by her, and they end up having a friend. The mannerisms and the disposition that she gives off, she's like, I want to be just like that woman. They end up finding this gem called the Dreamstone / Monkey's Paw, and it grants his wishes through mysticism, right? So they end up, she ends up becoming the person that she desires, that she wished to be, and people start loving her and liking her. And Maxwell Lord, for whatever reason, who's played by Pedro Pascal, he's at his end's wind of being a mogul, right? And so he has this call-in oil company that it's a Ponzi scheme, and he's trying to get people in, but his investors are leaving, so he's like, look, I exhausted all my options. I'm gonna go with this mysticism situation and try to see what that can do for myself, right? So both of them dealing with the gem. He ends up getting the stone as well, the Dream Stone, and he gets powers where he can grant wishes, becoming part of the stone. And also, that's pretty much the movie, where he has this ambition and this drive, and Kristen Wiig's character Barbara, she doesn't want to get the newfound resolve that she has as a fierce, confident woman. And Diana touched the stone, and it granted her a wish unknown to her, where it was able to bring back the spirit of Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, in another person's body, but she only sees him because that's who she recognizes and that's her love, right? So then they end up having this whole spiel where it's him getting a man at a time, trying to adjust to the modern world of the 80s, and Maxwell Lord keeps getting this excess of wealth and fame and power, and how he's granting wishes to people, he's also losing things as well, more of his humanity and health and physicality, and it's kind of like a resolution to try to make sure everyone stays safe that's caught up with all the wishes. And then it ends in a climactic We Are the People climactic end of Wonder Woman saving the day in heroic speech fashion. So that's pretty much the review of the movie. So let me tell you, I didn't like it. The beginning of the movie I enjoyed. It had hints of hope and Christopher Reeve isms. I could tell that that's what they was really trying to pull from. Just because DC has had a streak of being overly gritty and glum, and I know that they were trying to steer away from that. And so the first act of the movie, of the introduction, was top notch. And then we get to the second half of the movie, the second act, while everything starts rolling and going through, and this there's too much going on. I could tell from the script that the movie is really jumbled. Like they had a whole bunch of ideas. I think there was too many cooks in the kitchen instead of one vision, and that led the story to have peaks and valleys. And when it was low, it was low. It emphasized her love, but the reason for it that she had to give it up for her to be a hero, because that's what heroes are, and they end up being selfless. That was kind of good, but everything leading up to that point was pretty boring. What else I didn't like about this movie, man? There's so much, and I'll tell you this: what makes me mad, I'm a nerd. You know what I'm saying? I'm a nerd for myself. Like, I'm self-proclaimed nerd, and I know how I am. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fit into everybody's box. And so when they put the trope or the stereotype of people that are awkward or people who don't mold into what society talk about, so that person got to be an awkward outcast, right? So they did that in Spider-Man 2, and they did that in Batman Forever, and they did it in this movie. And it's like, just because somebody got glasses and that's a little like off, you know what I mean? That doesn't make them a kind of person that you need to shun, right? And or forget about. So I'm really tired of Hollywood always doing that about somebody. Like, that junk is weak. So that's what they did with Cheetah, Minerva, whatever you want to call her, you know what I'm saying? That's what they did. And that junk was corny. Maxwell Lord, or Pedro Pascal's character, he had this whole arc about his son, and what he wanted to do was be the best number one man in the world, not just in his life but in the world, so that he would be able to just provide overabundance for his son. But his son throughout the movie just wanted to be with him. If they just cut out one of the two, you know what I'm saying? If they had Maxwell Lord or Minerva, they ain't need to do both. It was just a lot. Or just had the man be evil, you know what I'm saying? Or I would have just liked his story more. Like, the movie was so big, it was 2.5 hours, and that whole other hour of the movie was just a lot of fluff that ain't need to be here. The action sequences of the movie, there was clarity, you know what I'm saying? So I saw what happened, I know what was going on, but it wasn't executed well. What I mean by that, it was lackluster. I didn't feel the stakes, and I also I wasn't invested, and I wasn't entertained. And that's a horrible thing when you trying to have a fantastical movie. If I can't rock with it in a certain fashion where I'm surprised, or you know what I'm saying, like it ain't something new, or I don't feel tense for the heroes or the protagonist in the story, then you losing me, doc. And then what else? The third act was mediocre. The fight between Wonder Woman and Cheetah, as I said, it was lackluster. Then there wasn't a major fight. And then this is what I'm tired of. Like, Hollywood, bro, you gotta get it together. Why are we still having villains in front of monitors and screen saying that I'm gonna destroy the world at midnight? Like, yo, we are getting too advanced in storytelling. You know what I'm saying? We're getting too advanced as a species of people to stay with them stakes. Yo, like, you got Wonder Woman deserved better than that. You know what I mean? And the whole resolution was tied up in a bow. The only thing that was kind of sad was a character not around. So I'm trying, you know when you see it. And I also just want to say this: if you want to see or experience a good Maxwell Lord story with Wonder Woman, this is it right here. See that? The Ring, Infinity Crisis. You need to read that. Some things go down. Wonder Woman show herself, and Maxwell Lord, you know what I'm saying, he prominent. And just the character mannerisms or the characteristics of that character in there is very pronounced in that comic book of Infinite Crisis, which was just a great story. So I watched the movie twice because I was like, yo, because I was kind of distracted the first time, and I was like, yo, this movie can't be that bad. I was like, yo, let me give it a second viewing with full clarity. I had no interruptions, and I was able to watch it, and I was like, yo, I really don't like this movie. I really don't like this movie, and it just made me feel bad about DC. But I love the first act. The first act of one, Lil Diana, and then 1984 Wonder Woman, like where she at that time. So that's that. I enjoyed that. Then when it just comes to the middle part of the movie, like, boom, let's meet Minerva, let's have a friendship, let's have that stuff deteriorate, and we'll have it there. But for her, like, I'm just tired of the trope of somebody who didn't have power, like, always wants it. Nah, it's gotta be deeper than that. It's gotta be deeper than that. So she ended up being somebody who was looked over, who wanted to be somebody that was seen. And I'm just tired of that trope. And maybe I'm watching too many shows and too many movies, but for me, like I'm saying, like, that junk is like, it's overdone. It's overdone and cliche. That is the perfect word for it. Is cliche. This is going off long, but I'm telling you that I'm mad. What else I didn't like about the movie? There was a lot that I didn't like. So that's my review. Oh, after credit scene was magnificenzo, delicioso. It was great. The after credit scene, post credit scene, that's where it needed to be. That made up for the entire movie. That 15 seconds of a post credit scene made up for the entire 2.5 movie. Yeah, that was delightful. I must say so myself. I'm usually into more specifics, and I guess I'm going off of pure emotion right now. I'm trying to figure out, because I gave y'all guys the premise, and I'm trying to think what else is left. I didn't like it. So my overall grade for the movie, I'll say for the Nerdy Brew, would give it a 5 out of 10. So if you have seen Wonder Woman 1984, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of it? Is there anything that I missed? Let me know your own personal review. Would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this rolling throughout the algorithm so we could bring fellow Brewsters into the community, so we could talk about the things that we love. And with that being said, I'm going to bring this video to an end, and I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day, because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.